prophecies, revelations, economic collapse, martial law, social and civil war, aliens, human hybrids, Nephilim, the Great Deception, world chaos, tsunamis. You want to stay tuned for special edition End Time Revelations with Pastor Henry Schaefer and Pastor Steve Hall. And it's good to be back in the studios of WUCC 99.9. We are entering our program, the SEER program, special edition, End Time Revelation. I am host for the show, Pastor Steve Hall, and it is good to have Pastor Henry Schaefer sitting there. Amen, the other host. Good to see you, my brother.
I'm glad to be in the studio with you, brother. We're going to have a great time today. It is, it's November the 3rd.
Yeah.
Come on, it's not too far along. It's going to be turkey time. We're all going to be going off for that and having a good time. Before that, though, somebody is going to be a turkey because we are going to have an election, brother.
Something's going to happen.
Isn't it?
We don't know yet because this is a special edition of special edition today.
We're going to see if we can get 2 hours out of this thing today. You know, all those syndicated programs, they do 3 hours.
Wow.
Maybe somebody want to syndicate us. You never know. Wait a minute. Now, when you put syndicate with preachers, that don't sound too good.
That don't sound real good for us.
But maybe somebody would like to put us on the air and just broadcast us all around the world. That'd be a great thing.
Yeah, they could just pick up a big checkbook and start writing.
That's
right. Boy, that would sure help us out a lot.
So anyway, we got election time coming, and we've been talking about that the last few weeks about what's going on in America. And what Project SEER is special edition End Time Revelations. We put out here, what is God showing us? What is God showing the Christian community? We kind of put it out like that. Now, the thing, too, Steve, is what we do with this is that God has shown in the past that elections aren't going to happen with some people.
That's correct.
Some prophets have said they will be suspended.
That's right. Some said Obama's going 2 more years.
That's right. Some have said that. So, we've had tsunamis. We've had everything that's out there. So it's kind of like, let's just put it out there in the air because trying to say how if they say the elections are going to be suspended and not happen, what could happen? Well, that's what we're going to talk about today because we got some information to share about what's happening in the government right now.
This is hot off the press. This ain't old news.
Yeah, like we were going to do the show today on another subject, and I said, Steve, you need to check this thing here out, and you had saw it last night.
I had already found it yesterday and showed part of this to my church. Not the exact film that we've got right now, but something very, very similar with the same information on it. Boy, I'm telling you, our listening audience, you don't want to go anywhere right now. As a matter of fact, you need to carve out the next 2 hours.
Yeah.
Just carve it out and stay with us because you're going to hear things here that the main media is not picked up yet. But if it hits the main media,
right,
you'll know that this thing is fixing to blow America up like a nuclear bomb.
That's right. Well, even the WikiLeaks, the emails that's being released through WikiLeaks, a lot of the mainstream still hadn't picked up on a lot of that.
They still have this big skeptical question mark around this thing because the Democrats and others are just throwing this expression of doubt on it.
But there's a lot of people in the Democratic Party who is resigning, being reassigned to different places because once these emails come out, they're saying, hey, you mean you said that and you can't be tied to Hillary with saying things like that. So they're moving them around. And they kind of like fade off the screen there for a little bit, but they still tied to her anyway. But there's a lot going on with the emails, with WikiLeaks and things like that. So let's go ahead, brother. I'm going to let you go ahead. And let me just tell them, as if they're traveling down the road and you get ready to get out of your vehicle, here's what I want you to do is go to cwchrist.com. That's cwchrist.com. You can go there and look on the right-hand side of the screen, and you'll see a red button that says Listen Live. And you don't have to have a player. That is our player. Yeah. It comes up and it plays itself, so you just got to go with it like that. And then if you would like to watch the Project SEER Show Live. Did I say that right?
Yeah, that was a tough one.
Project SEER Show Live.
Say it 3 times quick.
I can't. It's almost like speaking in tongues. Is that you will you can go there and go to Studio WUCC on YouTube, and you can check us out right now. Right on here in the studio.
The good thing about that is after we're done with this show and they are sitting there with their mouth still halfway open and their mind is still kind of trying to process this, they can go back and listen to it again, and then they need to call their friends and tell their friends, hey, guys, you will not believe what is on SEER program today. You got to tune in. So it gives them a chance to rebroadcast for other people.
It's going to be good, isn't it?
This is going to be great.
So go ahead and let you do the introduction on what did we hear?
Oh, man.
We got a video we're going to run, and we tell them we're going to do a video.
And commentary.
We may chop it up as we go, and then go from there. But tell us what's happening, Steve.
So, every day, one of the things I do is I pray for God to give me wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. Those are 3 different things. But the categories will complete what God wants to teach us, show us, and for us to learn. So when you pray for those things consistently and your heart is in God showing you, then God will open up the things that he wants to show you. So for me yesterday, I was not looking for anything special, Pastor, when I came across this video. And not this particular one, but one just like it. And I said, this is crazy. So I said, Sandra, sit down. So she sat down. I said, I got to show you something. And she sat there with me, and her mouth was falling down too. She said, what are they talking about? What is this, a joke? Are they really doing this? Is this just a make-believe? I said, Sandra, I think this is all real. And then I watched it again with her, and then I said, Sandra, if this is true, our church has to know. So I took it to church last night, and I showed the video to them, and after that, their eyes were open. And so this is something that we've been praying for. My church has been praying and fasting that God will bring these perpetrators that are perverts, they are thieves, they are robbers, they're running our government, and they want to keep running the government, that God would expose their sin, would bring them to open shame, get them out of office, and even put them in prison for the crimes that we've been praying that way. I prayed that way from the pulpit.
Well, if you look at this, when we did the Trey Smith video, when you do the Mark Taylor video, and you do these different ones, it talks about the corruption that's in Washington and has happened in our politicians, and they have been praying and even prophesying that the corruption would be revealed so that it could be dealt. That's the only way you can deal with it.
Right.
It has to be revealed. So those are the things that's been prophesied as well. And when I heard about the video that we're going to play here in a moment, and about the coup happening in Washington, and they're calling it a silent coup.
Yeah.
It's like a silent revolt. That when those type things happen, you've got the people who were on the inside making this thing happen in the FBI.
That's right.
And in that entity, you have all the people who have been doing the investigations for years on the Clinton Foundation, on Hillary Clinton, with the emails and all. And with this thing just coming, it was in July. It was in July when the FBI overseer said, we're not going to Comey. So we're not going to prosecute Hillary Clinton. She did some negligence. She was very negligent in some things she did, but we're going to step back. Anybody can make a mistake. Slapped her hand a little. Didn't even get a hand slap, really.
No.
It just kind of like she's doing a good job. And and kind of like that, but all the people inside the agencies, they knew. They said, "Man, there's a lot that we know of," and that's where all of a sudden the day of reckoning's coming. I mean, November the 8th is around the corner, and you've got all these people sitting over here with all this information. It's been released through WikiLeaks. It's been released.
Let's throw this. Some of these are really good people.
Yeah,
and just what you said earlier before the show started, they've got a conscience too.
Yes.
And they can't sit on all this information knowing America is likely to elect somebody that is guilty of crimes that we would put them in the elected chair for.
Right.
Go ahead.
Well, so all that's going behind the scenes, and they're knowing that if they are quiet and they're silent, and they know that their supervisor has already let them put the hole in the bag.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a hole in the bag, and there's a big hole. He tore a big hole in the bag to let them fall out, that he's not going to do anything.
Right.
So behind the scenes, they're making phone calls and they're contacting people, and this is the video that came out yesterday, and it was but say his name, Pachesnik.
It is a tough name.
Pachesnik. I think that's how you say
Steve.
it.
Somebody.
Pachesnik. That's how you say it. Pachesnik.
Yeah.
And so he is a retired FBI agent.
Goes back to Nixon and prior. He's been the FBI for a long time. And he's got a long list of credentials. The right man to bring it out. He was the right man.
So he released a video yesterday. And now, we can play just the video, that 6-minute video.
We probably ought to do that for the introduction.
So we'll do the 6-minute video of the FBI. I don't know if you're ever really, I don't know if you're, it's kind of like a Marine.
Yeah, you're always one.
I think you're always a Marine. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Or you're always in the armed services. You could be retired, but
it's in your blood.
Yeah, that's it. It's what you are. You'll always be that. It's kind of like a pastor or a preacher.
You'll always be.
You'll
one.
always be
that's
one.
Your calling.
Oh, yeah.
You can't leave it.
Yeah, I mean, wherever we go, we start preaching, don't we?
We've been accused. I've been accused of. Not too bad.
So let's go do this here. You want me to run that thing here real quick?
Let's run that for an introduction. That'll be great.
Let's see if I can find it right here. This is going to be a great video here for us. Here, let's see what I got right here.
On November 1, 2016, Hillary and Bill Clinton and their entourage of assistants effected a civilian coup. In contrast to the usual concept of a coup where the military is involved and takes over the White House and communication centers, very much like the scenarios you see in a movie, this coup was done silently and very effectively through two methods: corruption and co-optation. The Clintons have been involved in co-opting our White House, our judiciary, our CIA, our Federal Bureau of Investigation, our Attorney General, Loretta Lynch, and our Director of the FBI, James Comey, for some time now. What they've done is to make sure that they were part and parcel of a group of people who were interrelated through political cronyism. However, in order to stop this coup, we in the intelligence community and others involved have informally gotten together, and with their permission, I am beginning to announce that we've initiated a counter coup through Julian Assange and WikiLeaks. What has happened in effect when Comey had to open up the case of Hillary Clinton and discuss the emails that were involved with the Anthony Weiner case, it was not the case itself that was as important as the fact that this was the entree for many of us in the counter coup to say to the administration, we have your number. Not only do we have your number, we're going to stop you from making Hillary the president of the United States.
Wow.
And at the same time,
stop it right there for a
we
minute,
will
brother.
Convict and indict the president.
This is critical because this needs to be set up front, that all of this information that they have that they are now making public is in order to stop Hillary Clinton from furthering their dynasty and reigning another 4 years in this reign of terror, in this reign of corruption, and in this reign, you'll find out later, of child
molestation.
Mm-hmm. I mean,
that's the easy way of saying it.
Let's just say it that way. Pedophilia. That they are doing a coup against their coup to continue their reign of terror.
Right.
And that's why this information is going out. So what's the purpose of the information? It is to keep Hillary out of the White House and to expose the corruption that is in politics and prosecute those that are involved in this criminal.
That's what the body of Christ has been praying for.
And that's what we've been praying for.
Everybody's been praying for that. It even was prophesied.
Yes.
That I know from several people we put on the videos here that we've run over that. Mm-hmm. So let's do this here. Here's what I see with this so far. Steve Pachesnik, he says, with their permission of the intelligence community behind him,
yes,
he is their spokesman.
That's right.
And they said he hasn't been on the video for
25 years.
Yeah, he hasn't released anything.
His face has not been seen. He's been working behind the scenes.
And he's released this video.
Yes.
Right here, and he's speaking to all of us there. Now, he's been on InfoWars with Alex Jones. He's been on True News.
But not his face.
Yeah. And now we're going to see this. No, I'm talking about just recently.
Okay.
Since this came out.
Yes, since it came out.
With this came out, they pulled him in and said, "No, you need to talk to us." So
he had been leaking information before,
right?
But they never would show his face. He would not let him see his face. But now it's the time for him to move. That's what I see.
So another thing that I see here too is what he just said briefly here is that this information that's being released to WikiLeaks is not from the Russians.
No.
And they laugh.
Yeah.
We got nothing to do with this here. But the information has actually been, it's been coming not so much from the Democratic Party. It's been coming from the intelligence community.
Yes.
That already had the 33,000 emails from Hillary Clinton before they were erased. They got them. They already got them.
It's their job to know.
Yeah.
And that's what's hurting the Clintons so much, and others like our sitting president, is their job is to know, and now it's backfiring.
Yeah.
Because they know so much now they can't keep silent anymore and have a clear conscience.
And that's exactly what's happened. They said, hey, before we allow this woman to go in and even maybe skew the numbers going in.
There you go.
You know, and steal the election, because that's what Donald Trump's been saying.
Yes.
And if it's not plausible to do that, why would they even be coming out? You know what I mean? They're afraid that, hey, they can skew the numbers in such a way that, hey, well, if you just look at the videos that they have from the crowds that she has,
I know that's good videos.
I mean, there's just she can't hardly fill up a gymnasium.
Right, high school gymnasium.
Yeah, high school gymnasium, and they have to pay people to go there. You know, so but all the numbers say she's 10 points ahead all the time.
Yes,
something's not right. But anyway, so let's deal with this Chesnick right here. And so he is our spokesman is what we're getting at. And from the community, and the goal is, like you said, is to stop Hillary Clinton from fathering her dynasty or going on into this thing. Okay?
Yes.
Here's what we're going to say here. So that's a minute and a half into it. Let's see what we got.
The United States, Loretta Lynch, and many others who were involved in the cover-up of the massive corruption that occurred under the Clinton Foundation. Now, in both cases, their coup was silent, and our counter-coup was silent, and it was all transgressed or occurred on the internet. And this is probably the first time in the history of any country where a coup was initiated through the internet and a counter-coup was initiated through the internet. I am just a small part of something far bigger than myself. It was the brave men and women who were in the FBI, the CIA, the Director of Intelligence, the military intelligence, and men and women in 15 other intelligence organizations who were sick and tired of seeing this corruption in the White House, in the Justice Department, and in the intelligence system. And we decided that there was something we had to do in order to save the Republic.
Praise God.
So we initiated a counter-coup through Julian Assange, who's been very brave and really quite formidable in his ability to come forth and provide all the necessary emails that we gave to him in order to undermine Hillary and Bill Clinton.
Wow.
Again, America, we're going through a major transition, and quite frankly, a second American revolution.
He's blaming the own FBI.
We do not have guns. We do not have weapons. We do not intend to kill anybody. We do not intend to harm anybody. But we, the American public, and those of us who serve as veterans and in the intelligence service like myself, will stop the Clintons from assuming power that they don't deserve. At the same time, we will make certain that Obama leaves without any trail of a pardon or any other act of treason. In effect, we want a peaceful transition in this great American republic. I bring you this news, and I want you to understand what has happened. A moment of history is occurring right now in front of us, and I'm proud to explain it to you.
How about that? We will not allow the sitting president to interfere.
I just talked to you about the ongoing coup and counter-coup.
Yeah, that's the second part he released later on in the day.
You want to leave it? You want to go?
Yeah, let him go through.
On the one hand, and counter-coup by the FBI, the New York Police Department, and other branches of our intelligence community.
New York Police Department.
The important part to remember is also that not all the information has come out with regards to Weiner and his sexting to a 15-year-old North Carolina teenager. The real issue underlying a lot of Bill Clinton's nefarious activities, as well as Hillary Clinton's sexual activities, is the fact that we know that both of them have been a major part and participant of what's called the Lolita Express, which is a plane owned by Mr. Jeff Epstein, a wealthy multimillionaire who flies down to the Bahamas and allows Bill Clinton and Hillary to engage in sex with minors. That is called pedophilia. And as a result of the excellent work that the New York Police Department does in tracking pedophiliacs, they also have a record of both Hillary, Bill, and other people associated with the Clintons with regard to pedophilia. So not only will she be charged with obstruction of justice, with lying to a prosecutor in the FBI, she will also be charged with pedophilia, sex with minors, and other assorted issues. Bill might be brought up again on certain charges because those charges still relate to American crime and prosecutorial issues. But I do want to inform you that we are well aware in the intelligence community of their activities that hasn't stopped. And we're not talking about one trip to the Bahamas, we're talking about a multiple of 20 or 30 trips that Bill and Hillary did take separately and together on the Lolita Express to engage in sexual activities with minors. I hope you continue to listen to what we have to say. This is Dr. Steve Pachenik, and I will keep on informing you as to what is happening in this second American Revolution that we are witnessing in 2016.
Brother, this man has put his life, his reputation, his family on the line. This man stepped up. What he said, if it is not true, he can be drug into court. He can be thrown under the jail, and you'll never see or hear from him again. The only hope he has to live another day and not go to prison tomorrow is that he is right.
Yeah.
And that he has the backing that he says he has from all of these agents, FBI, CIA, military.
Now, he said he had, what I count them, 18 agencies. Because he named like 3 or 4.
And then he
said 15. So he's talking about 18 agencies that have colluded together.
Yes.
Come together. And they said, we've got to stand up and do something now.
Yes.
Before
and he's calling for a revolution. You don't get on TV. You don't get on YouTube or any tube and say what he just said unless you've got some way to back it up. It's one thing to have your theory, right? It's another thing to get up and call people pedophiles and then name them by name and the plane and the place that they went to. Brother, this man is either right or he's dead.
Well, I sure hope he's right.
I sure hope he's right.
Yeah,
I believe he is.
Well, you know, the thing is, you're not going to come out. I wouldn't think you'd come out on
something that
you
you know
know
is a lie.
Like this here. And the thing is, put his reputation, like, of course, his family as well.
Yeah.
You know, he's marked. He's a marked man.
Yes, he is.
From the time he done this right here. So now what we did is we found out, because I went and I looked this up. I said, I want to see the video he released himself. Now, I'll tell you what I did. I'll tell everyone, if you have an opportunity to get the video, you need to get the video and pull it down to your machine.
Download it.
Download it. Don't let it stay on the internet, because we're already seeing anomalies on the internet now to where they're just like we spoke before, is that some of these things have happened to where our internet has been released to the UN or a third party, and we're seeing anomaly. You can't get the true news like you used to. You can't get InfoWars like you used to. We're seeing things where I was trying to, when I was trying to do yesterday, just hunt down some facts about our economy and unemployment rates and all these different things.
Right.
I couldn't get to it.
They better hurry up, because this is my thinking right here. There's so many people, dignitaries from around the world, that is indicted on these documents, is that they will try to shut down all this information as quick as they get their hands on it.
Right.
I'm just serious. What you're saying, I'm telling you, is 100% true, because they're going to try to have a disinformation war going on. I'm telling you, they're not sitting up there saying, oh, I hope nothing happens. The ones that have been in power all of these years, they are right now saying, we're going to kill this. We're going to stop it right now.
All the people who's already done the voting, the early voting, that, I mean, their votes are cast. And there's like 7 states that can recant their votes. You know, you have to go through a process, but you can get it redone. But those votes that are already cast, and someone said, well, I don't understand why you'd want me to recast. Listen, the FBI is telling you this here. Hillary Clinton is going to be indicted.
Yes.
You hear what I'm talking about? If she goes in, she's going to be indicted. That's it. And
these are, like you said, this is not me talking. I don't have this kind of authority, power, or knowledge, or documentation. The ones who have it are doing this.
Right. And another thing they said too is, well, Tim Kaine would step up and be the president. They said it would be a bogus regime, a bogus election, and they said no. There would be something else, but that would not be happening because he's part of the same group. So now you want to now watch that video here.
Start the second one.
Man, it's 2:25. We done ate 25 minutes up of this thing here, and I wonder if you got anybody tapping you on your phone there?
No, I don't do a lot of social media.
I was looking at the door over there, making sure there wasn't nobody barging through the door or anything.
Yeah. You seen me glance over there a while ago. I do look at our front door as well. So we've got ways
just making sure we can make sure we're all right here in the studio.
We've got ways to handle somebody coming through the front door anyway.
So here we go. All right. So you want to watch now? Here's what we're going to do. Look at True News. It's 2:25. It's Thursday, November the 3rd. This is a live broadcast. Listen here. At this program, what we're doing right now, we're taking you to the edge of your imagination. And we're climbing up the wall and looking over and going into the land of the unknown right now.
Yes.
And that's where we're at because we've never been here before.
And I'm excited.
We've never even said anything like this before. And the thing is that all I can say is that it's on the media. It's not on the mainstream media.
Nope.
I mean, even WikiLeaks is not on the mainstream media other than Fox News. And Fox has been very careful to handle this, not to say a whole lot about it, but what they have said, let's just do it. Let's pick it up from Fox News, very conservative, and what they have said. They said several days ago is that Comey called a meeting, and he stood up and he says there is enough information that has come to him to reopen the investigation on Hillary Clinton's emails. And then they said, well, Hillary Clinton says, well, tell me what they are. Tell me what they are. No, WikiLeaks will tell us what they are. You won't, but they'll tell us. But tell us what you got. So anyway, he stood up and he says, I have to open up. And now let me read his body language and everything, knowing it from the back, from what's happening now. I don't want to do this, but I got to do this because I got a coup going on behind me.
That's right.
I've got enough people in
100 FBI agents.
100 FBI agents who has done this investigation,
and they're going to resign.
And they're going to resign. They're going to go out there and tell everybody.
They're going to go resign and tell. That's right.
They're going to tell everybody what's been going on. And for me to hold this thing together, I've got to open up the investigation. They ain't going to tell you what I'm going to do, but I've got to open it up so that I can hold together my department and hopefully get Hillary in before anything breaks loose. But now more is coming out that that the FBI is the one that's been releasing some of this information.
And Steve Paczynski says, we will stop Hillary.
Yeah.
See, that's not though we're going to try. He says, we will stop Hillary and we will not allow the sitting president to interfere.
Right.
Brother, if you ain't got a whole lot of pull behind you, you can't make a statement like that.
Well, remember what Taylor said, Mark Taylor said. He said, I have, what was the words he used? I have taken his power. I have actually taken all his power away from him. He's just not a lame duck, but I'm just talking about he has no power. I've removed that from him.
That's what he call a whip puppy.
Yeah, and I think he might be kind of scared right now. But anyway, so now Steve Paczynski, he goes on True News. And there's an interview that's taking place here, and we're going to let you hear what we heard.
Yeah.
So that
and we're going to interrupt him and comment.
Yeah, we're going to talk to you about what's going on because we're looking at it from the Christian perspective.
That's right.
Of what's taking place. God has said that He is going to reveal this corruption, and the thing is that let me tell you this here about the voting process. Tell me who you run with, and I'll tell you what you are.
That's right. Tell me who you're hanging out with and who's supporting your program. We know who
and that's
you are.
what you are. Yeah. You know what I mean? That's what an old timer used to tell me. So here we go. You ready for this? Here
Let's do it.
We're gonna get him back up here. Hope not. True News. Here we go.
It's coming up.
That's it. Should be playing. There we go.
there shall be signs in the sun,
like
and in
this.
the moon, and in the stars,
One
and
man.
upon the earth distress of nations,
vision.
with perplexity,
One microphone.
the sea and the waves roaring, men's hearts failing them for fear,
One
and
way.
for looking after those things which are coming on the earth. For the powers of heaven shall be shaken. One man, one microphone,
One microphone.
one mission,
One mission.
one message.
One message.
True News, the only newscast reporting the countdown to the second coming of Jesus Christ.
Tell us
Here
about
is
it.
end-time newsman Rick Wiles.
Rick Wild. Here he is.
Financial expert James Rickard will be here in the second half of today's edition of True News. His newest book is The Road to Ruin, the global elite's secret plan for the next financial crisis. Is there a war underway in Washington between the white hats and the black hats? I've speculated for many years that there are factions inside the U.S. federal government and the deep state that are in a perpetual state of conflict with each other over control of the United States of America. We may be witnessing that internal strife surfacing and blossoming into a public slugfest. I'm referring to four things. First, there appears to be a revolt underway inside the FBI. I'm not even sure that James Comey is still in control of the Bureau.
Yeah, look
For
at
all
that.
we know, he may be under house arrest by patriotic FBI agents who are fed up with his timidity in prosecuting the Clinton crime
I
syndicate.
believe that.
Second, former House Majority Leader Congressman Tom DeLay of Texas told Newsmax TV that approximately 100 FBI agents were prepared to resign in protest of the lenient treatment shown to Hillary Clinton. Third, somebody inside the FBI continues to publicly release documents that are extremely embarrassing to the Clintons. In addition to a 2001 FBI investigation into Dollar Bill Clinton's pardon of fugitive Mark Rich, the FBI also published 1,000 pages of documents related to the death of Vince Foster. What is going on inside the FBI? Fourth, a deep state operative, Mr. Steve Pachenik, surfaced yesterday by posting a video online saying that a criminal class is carrying out a silent coup d'etat in America, namely the Obamas and the Clintons, and that patriotic members of the U.S. intelligence, law enforcement, and military communities are fighting back with a counter coup. The Washington Times reported today that emails released by the State Department over the past 18 months show that Uma Abedin frequently handled classified information. The discovery that her estranged husband, Anthony Weiner, shared a laptop with his wife that contained 650,000 emails triggered a new investigation by federal agents. During the first investigation that FBI Director Comey and Attorney General Lynch compromised and eventually shut down, Hillary Clinton turned over to the State Department 5,000 emails that were sent to or received from Uma Abedin. Over 180 of those messages contained information determined to be confidential. One message contained top secret information. In the secret message, Uma Abedin forwarded to Mrs. Clinton classified information about a ballistic missile test by North Korea. Judicial Watch President Tom Fitton told the Washington Times that it's remarkable that the FBI and Justice Department are only now investigating Abedin's connection to Hillary Clinton's mishandling of classified information. It was also reported today that Assistant Attorney General Peter Kadzik sent Clinton campaign chairman John Podesta an email last year giving him a courtesy heads-up alert that members of the House Judiciary Committee plan to question witnesses about Hillary Clinton's private email server. The tip-off came 2 weeks after Kadzik's son emailed Podesta requesting a job in the Clinton campaign. Assistant Attorney General Katnick is involved in the Justice Department's so-called investigation of Hillary Clinton's latest email scandal.
Wow.
Kadzik's connection to Podesta goes back decades. During the Monica Lewinsky scandal, federal prosecutors investigated Podesta's role in getting Lewinsky a job in the White House. His lawyer was Kadzik. Kadzik also was employed as a lobbyist to obtain a presidential pardon for fugitive Mark Rich. Edward Zoll, Fior Hernandez, and Doc Burkhart are here to discuss and analyze these stunning developments.
Let's do it.
Last Friday, when the news broke that the FBI had reopened the investigation.
So this news is days old, y'all. This ain't old news.
Right. It's just happening.
This is just happening.
Right. And what he's doing, he's saying, okay, something happened last Friday. They reopened up the investigation to the email. So here's what everybody's saying. Here's what a lot of people are saying. Oh, my God.
They just trying to stop
They
Hillary.
just trying to, just all they want to do is talk about, it's bigger than emails.
Yes.
This is things bigger than emails, y'all. And the emails has been a catalyst in this thing. But they're saying they found 650,000. Did you know, we didn't say one. We didn't say two. We didn't say 1,000 or 2,000 or 3,000 or 10,000. We're saying 650,000 emails on Anthony Weiner's
private stuff.
Right.
Let's leave it right there.
That's it. Leave it right there. And found and his estranged wife or his wife, Uma Abedin, is Hillary Clinton's is her aide.
Yeah.
And and she signed a document when she left the state house, the state house, is that she had turned over all her electronic devices, everything had been checked, and there was nothing on it.
I heard the other day Uma Abedin has disappeared.
Yeah, she's not there no more.
No, nobody knows where she's at.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like nobody knows.
Wow.
Question mark. What's going on?
Yeah, well, I knew that they had separated her off the airplane, and she hadn't been showed up at any of Hillary Clinton's rallies, and she has a tie to Saudi Arabia.
That's right,
and
a Muslim tie.
Yeah, she has a Muslim tie to Saudi Arabia, and you got to think about all that. So anyway, they kind of like pulled her out, and I don't think it was probably the FBI either.
No, I don't believe it was.
It was somebody in the Clinton camp who probably did that. But anyway,
so she shared a computer with her then husband, Mr. Pervert himself,
right?
Mr. Sexting himself, who got kicked out of Congress for that, and now is running again. And so she is part of. You see there's a triangle going on here,
right? And the thing is that someone will say, "Well, all we're doing is talking about emails." No, it's emails that's tied to Hillary Clinton that are unsecured. Again, hello, they're unsecured. You know what I mean? And this can cost their life in this here. So they're going to do some talking here for us, some commentary.
Let's go.
Let's listen to what they've got to say. You're listening to Rick Wiles on True News. So we're just going to listen in, kind of like we are flies on the wall. Let's hear what they have to say about this situation. Here we go.
That there was an internal revolt inside the FBI. We now know, according to Tom DeLay, that 100 agents were prepared to resign. Ed Klein, the author of Guilty as Sin, said there was a toxic atmosphere inside the FBI with senior agents and department heads refusing to even speak to Comey in the hallway.
So he had
that
to
the
do
resignation
something.
letters were piling up.
He knew he had to do something.
Now we have this stunning video, actually two videos posted by this deep state operative, Steve Pachinik, who has a very long, detailed resume of service in the U.S. government, going back to the days of Nixon and Kissinger.
Yeah. He's not anybody. He's somebody.
This guy definitely has been on the inside of the deep state. And he said in the video last night.
I'm going to pause it there a moment. He has to have the people there that he's representing. They're saying if anybody's going to be our spokesman, this is the guy that needs to do it because he's well known. They know him. They know of him. Because if it was just like Johan, I mean, Johan, who's Johan? Yeah. I mean, they'd beat Johan up. and Johan probably wouldn't make it home.
Right.
But Steve Pachenik is he's got a name. So let's go ahead. They have. I'm saying the people have to have confidence in him.
Yeah, and he's the right man, and he'll have people around him that can secure his security.
Right.
Let's just put it that way.
He knows how to
got
do
friends in the FBI, CIA,
right.
and all these agencies. So somebody like us, we would not be heard from again.
Right. That's why we're watching the door.
That's why.
Here we go.
Right. That there was a counter coup underway. Before we talk about it, let's listen to the first one, and then he followed up with another video. Listen to the audio of this.
Let's do it again, can't
announcement.
Because there's people just tuning in.
On November 1, 2016, Hillary and Bill Clinton and their entourage of assistants effected a civilian coup. In contrast to the usual concept of a coup where the military is involved and takes over the White House and communication centers, very much like the scenarios you see in a movie, this coup was done silently and very effectively through two methods: corruption and co-optation. The Clintons have been involved in co-opting our White House, our judiciary, our CIA, our Federal Bureau of Investigation, our Attorney General, Loretta Lynch, and our Director of the FBI, James Comey, for some time now. What they've done is to make sure that they were part and parcel of a group of people who were interrelated through political cronyism. However, in order to stop this coup, we in the intelligence community and others involved have informally gotten together, and with their permission, I am beginning to announce that we've initiated a counter coup through Julian Assange and WikiLeaks. What has happened in effect when Comey had to open up the case of Hillary Clinton and discuss the emails that were involved with the Anthony Weiner case, it was not the case itself that was as important as the fact that this was the entree for many of us in the counter coup to say to the administration, we have your number. Not only do we have your number, we're going to stop you from making Hillary the president of the United States. And at the same time, we will convict and indict the president of the United States, Loretta Lynch, and many others who were involved in the cover-up of the massive corruption that occurred under the Clinton Foundation. Now, in both cases, their coup was silent, and our counter-coup was silent, and it was all transgressed or occurred on the Internet. And this is probably the first time in the history of any country where a coup was initiated through the Internet and a counter-coup was initiated through the Internet. I am just a small part of something far bigger than myself. It was the brave men and women who were in the FBI, the CIA, the Director of Intelligence, the military intelligence, and men and women in 15 other intelligence organizations who were sick and tired of seeing this corruption in the White House, in the Justice Department, and in the intelligence system. And we decided that there was something we had to do in order to save the Republic. So we initiated a counter coup through Julian Assange, who's been very brave and really quite formidable in his ability to come forth and provide all the necessary emails that we gave to him in order to undermine Hillary and Bill Clinton. Again, America, we're going through a major, major transition and, quite frankly, a second American Revolution. We do not have guns. We do not have weapons. We do not intend to kill anybody. We do not intend to harm anybody. But we, the American public, and those of us who serve as veterans and in the intelligence service like myself, will stop the Clintons from assuming power that they don't deserve. At the same time, we will make certain that Obama leaves without any trail of a pardon or any other act of treason. In effect, we want a peaceful transition in this great American republic. I bring you this news, and I want you to understand what has happened. A moment of history is occurring right now in front of us, and I'm proud to explain it to you.
I'm speechless. This is an astounding statement.
I wasn't sure how to take it last night when I first saw it. I saw it about 6:30 yesterday evening. A little while after I got home from the office here, and I was like, I don't know what to think.
And you didn't call me, Doc. I mean, you watched somebody in the deep state announce a counter coup, and you didn't call me, Doc. You went ahead.
In my defense, I was moving furniture.
Oh, that's right. You were moving. I forgot.
But it shocked me. I really didn't know how to take it. And,
yeah, because I didn't see it until around 9 p.m. And I was just absolutely stunned. Steve Pachinik was Deputy Assistant Secretary of State under Henry Kissinger, Cyrus Vance, and James Baker. You don't get any more connected than that.
He also co-authored the Tom Clancy Op Center novels. The character apparently in those novels is based off of his work in the intelligence field.
And he was at the Camp David Peace Accords.
It goes way back then.
I mean, if this isn't true, what he said, why would somebody with this reputation make an outrageously crazy statement that would turn out to be false? I mean, he's saying there is a counter coup, a cyber coup underway.
And he also broke visual covertness because he hadn't been on camera for about 25 years from reports. This was the first time in 25 years his face has been seen.
Wow.
Interestingly, he was a member of the CFR, but sometime around the fall of 2012, his name was removed from the CFR membership roll.
That means he offended somebody.
Yes, and he's also a Harvard-trained psychiatrist. What do you make of it? Edward, what are your thoughts?
I think that what he is saying to us, the way we look at this, it's not shocking. But what he's doing is he's legitimizing the claims and the speculation that we've done and looked at through analysis from a deep state perspective.
Right. I think that, we've suspected this, but we don't have the intel they've got in the FBI, CIA, and these intelligence agencies. They can come out and legitimize it. I can say it all day long. There ain't nobody listening to me.
Right. Exactly.
So I think this is it. That's why I'm so excited about this. I believe this can be the pivotal point for our nation right here to get back on the right track. And that if enough of us will get on this bandwagon and demand that the secular press, this liberal press, they'll have to get on the bandwagon too.
The CNN?
Yeah, along with all the rest of the long
Clinton
list.
News Network.
Yeah, there we go. I like that. They're all bought out.
Exactly. And let's talk about that for a moment for our listening audience who may not know, is that before Hillary Clinton announced her candidacy to run, she called all the news agencies together.
The liberal news.
Got them all
excluded
together.
Fox.
They excluded Fox.
They did.
And True News and all these internet, they call them like no names or they don't even exist.
Yeah, well, they treat us like we are all nutcases to be disregarded.
Exactly. So call them all together and virtually just like put them all in the same bag. Mm-hmm. And say, I'm getting ready to run. I'm going to need your support. And whoever comes up against me, I need y'all to really, land blast them and see how negative you can say about them. And, and just virtually just pull them all in. And that happened twice.
That's right. There were two meetings.
And reason to how we found this out, you want to tell you how we found out? WikiLeaks.
I saw it myself.
They said this.
They showed, when I was watching that particular video, they showed the email.
Yes.
I seen it with my own two eyes. Somebody says that's just whatever, but okay.
But the thing is that the WikiLeaks emails are being fed from the FBI.
Yes.
It's not the Russian government.
No.
And that's just some red herring that's out there when they stand up and say, well, why do you want to listen to Donald Trump? He's got all the inside from the Russians, and he's buddies with Putin, and all this information that's being released, these emails were stolen by Russia, and all along we're going, no, it's not Russia, it's our FBI people who have done this thing here. So they're trying to put a story out there that would negate, it would look very negative on everything. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So that's what they're trying to do.
So if they could say the Russians are doing it, then it would be espionage, counter-espionage. We can ignore that. But if it's coming from our own intelligence agencies and they're trying to help us wake up, then we need to wake up.
Well, you think just releasing this information to WikiLeaks would be enough for the mainstream media? That's where we were at. That would start pumping some of this out there, but they're not even going to touch it.
You know what? People are too asleep.
Yeah.
They're giving us all the wake-up calls. They're letting the alarms go off, and everybody is so deep asleep in America that we don't wake up to nothing, and this is our wake-up call. If they can interrupt this election, somebody's going to start paying attention.
Right. So here we go. You ready to run some more?
Yeah, let's go.
Let's do it. It's going to be great.
Perspective. With deep state sources, with FBI intelligence officials, he is becoming, and in this video, he is the mouthpiece of the patriots and the white hats in our intelligence community.
Hey, there's no more accusations of tinfoil hats. The things that we have been saying and others, that there is an internal war going on inside Washington.
Yep. We've been saying it.
This turns out to be true.
Yeah.
And they have surfaced. And they're saying the country is on the verge of a takeover.
Now, the takeover is from
criminal
Clinton's
class.
Yes.
And we are intervening to stop it.
Let me make sure I understand. He says
pause it because that's important.
Because one thing they said is that a coup's taking place.
Yes.
Well, the coup's taking place from the Clintons.
Right.
That's the coup that's through the internet, all the emails back and forth, and all the stuff that's been done between the White House, Hillary Clinton,
and election fraud. That's why it's happening before the election.
All of that is a coup.
It's the coup
to take over, to steal, and everything.
The White House and the political power to run this nation and then set their
and
cronies.
the media,
all of that. Yes,
everything.
It's a whole. When you look at the whole picture,
It's
they're
the whole
trying to
thing.
run the whole thing so they can do whatever they want to, like they're a dynasty.
Right now the thing is, the FBI is saying we're going to push out a counter coup, and what you've been using the internet for, we're going to use it to feed WikiLeaks. We're going to use it to push our information out there to stop what's happening with the White House with Hillary Clinton and all that going on. And this man here, Steve Pachesnik, is the man that is the spokesperson for the coup, the counter coup.
Counter coup.
The counter coup.
Right.
Stopping the coup from taking the counter coup. And if that can be, and all we're saying is that just have the elections.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? And the thing is what they're saying, they are that she won't be president.
Mm-hmm.
That whatever happens, that we're going to make it so she is not going to be that. Isn't this amazing?
This is amazing.
This is great times to be living in my Jesus.
Exciting. It's exciting to have
Here
this radio station right now.
Well, you know what? Let's talk about the network, the media network.
Mm-hmm.
The Satan has his media network that's out there, and God has raised up his media network.
That's right.
I mean, he has True News. He has all these
Voice of Truth.
Voice of Truth. God has raised up a network as well. That's his.
That's right.
That to counter what the devil's doing. So all we're doing, and that's one thing that people have to recognize what we're here to do, and other ministers who are out there who are on all these talk shows and all, is that if God is placing people into the network, then they need to come to the network so we can get your message out.
Right.
God has raised us up so we can get your message out. I don't have the message. You got the message, but we've got the radio station.
That's right.
So we get the message out, and the television stations and all that are got God raised up to get his message out. And here's the message we're trying to tell y'all. Church, you need to be praying right now.
Yes,
amen.
We
need to be praying about what's going on that Jezebel don't get
That's
in the
right.
White House.
That's right. Come
there,
on.
It sounds to me like there's some Jehus that's just being raised up
That's
and they are
right.
standing up and saying that they're saying, no, we're not going to go any further.
Cast her out. Cast her out. Let her blood run on the street.
Exactly. So anyway, let's go ahead and run some more here before I start preaching here about.
I'm ready.
You ready?
Steve was basically saying that it started yesterday. They the takeover started yesterday. We're already under that coup now.
Which one? The coup or the counter coup?
Well, then they launched the counter coup yesterday evening in response.
That's what you have to decide
by announcing it. The only thing that I'm kind of concerned about here, Pastor, and it sent a red flag up for me last night was, I saw what happened in Turkey with Erdogan. Now, if you believe the theory that Erdogan allowed the coup to happen in order to bring his enemies out, could something like that similarly be happening here in that they're putting this out as kind of a feeler, if you will, to draw out those that would be in opposition to
isn't that good?
A future Clinton administration?
Taking names.
That's a troubling question, Doc, because you could actually see this two ways. It's a legitimate counter coup that could fail to be carried out, that could be crushed, and then
everybody's
in the aftermath
in danger
of the crushing of the coup, that's what happened.
Well, what happens is like with the Declaration of Independence was when they signed that, is that we either hang together or we all hang together.
That's exactly right. I never heard it said that way, but that's pretty.
We
that's
hang
the way
together
to say
or we all hang together.
This is amazing because that's the perfect analysis right there. Because when they signed that, it was their life.
I think it was really said like this: we all hang together or we hang separately. I think that's what it was really said. But I kind of put it together like this.
Well, it works.
Yeah, hang together or y'all gonna hang together.
So if this coup, that's good. That's good. If this coup does not succeed, these people who are listed here,
these 100 people,
these
18 agencies,
Steve
Pachesnik,
Steve Pachesnik, the head's in the news right now, and it is depending on the American citizens to get a hold of this thing. It won't take a majority. It just takes enough people to push it forward.
Right.
So everybody begins to wake up to the same reality. And when we wake up in this reality, then we'll say, hey, this needs to stop. So let's, whatever you want to do, I think let's go. Well,
let's do this here. We got another 4 minutes at the top of the hour. We're within our legal boundaries here to say you're listening to 99.9 WUCC Williston. And we are going to be moving into the second hour. Project SEER, it's a special edition. It's the elections and the counter coup.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we're talking about. The elections and the coup and the counter coup.
The coup is to steal the election and continue the dynasty
of the
Clintons. Or the counter coup is to stop their corruption. Number one, I mean, absolutely disgusting. You're going to find out.
Going from the White House, the State House, to the DNC.
Yes,
and everyone. It's all around
to break this monopoly of corruption. He called it co-opting of corruption. And get it broken down, and let's get some legitimate government that can change our nation. And I'm telling you, I've never seen or heard anything like this before.
So those who are just tuning in, what has happened? So the short of this here, so those who've been with an hour with us, let's catch some people up.
Catch them up.
As they're just tuning in. You may be getting off work right now. There has been a video that has been released by Steve Pachesnik, and he has been appointed a spokesman for some 14, I think like
agencies.
18 intelligence agencies of the United States, including 100 FBI agents and all these covert agencies that we have. Within those agencies, there's enough information about Hillary Clinton and what they have done in the dynasty and all these things. They're saying we cannot be silent. And Comey, what was his name? James Comey. Was that his name? James Comey?
That's his name.
Is that he, who was director of the FBI, let Hillary Clinton off the hot seat.
Yes.
And didn't say anything. And they said, no, we are going to stop this because there's enough information, corrupt information, to put her under the jail. So they're saying, no, we are going to rise up and we're going to say something. So last Friday, James Comey said, we have reopened the investigation against Hillary Clinton, and now things are starting to come out. What has come out? What we have found out, it's not the Russians who've been giving up the information and stole the information from Hillary Clinton's emails to giving them to Julian Assange. That information got to him through our own FBI people. They gave him the emails of Hillary Clinton, and he's been releasing them, and it's been feeding back to our country and trying to wake people up so that they will realize this is how corrupt this group is, and trying to stop the election and trying to sway it. Y'all don't want this person in there is what they're saying.
Yes.
And we have got to tell you what we know about them. So what we're doing right now, this information was released Friday. It came out yesterday as well. this video, and we're listening off of True News, and they're discussing the information that's taking place. Did I do all right catching everybody up?
Yeah, that's good.
But we are in the middle of it. They call it the coup.
And the counter coup.
And the counter coup. And the FBI is doing a counter coup, and they're standing up saying, no, we are going to stop Hillary Clinton. The FBI says that.
Right. And the other thing is, this is not just a political move. It is a move of facts and with a background of the intelligence agency behind it to stop corruption before it takes office again.
Exactly. So here we're going to run some more True News. Here we go.
In Turkey.
Right.
The coup was put down by Erdogan's forces, and then Erdogan rounded up the people who participated in the coup.
He
the
killed
other
thousands
scenario
of
is that it's a fake counter coup for the purpose of drawing out the actors that are buried deep in the deep state that have been working against the New World Order. And this is meant to draw them out into public, and then they're rounded up.
Yeah, they're thinking on multi-levels right now.
Doc's example that he brought up is what really, at a core, decided the Turkish coup.
It's like
was the direction the people
chess game.
The people came out on the streets. The people backed Erdogan, and they stopped. Because in any civilization, especially America, the police, the military, and anybody who is working for the government with a gun makes up less than a percentage of the population. The people, the will of the people dictates the direction the country goes. And even if this turns out to be Pachenik, being a master of psyops and possibly even the founder of Delta Force, this turns out to be a psyops claiming or attempting to drive this narrative in a different direction. The truth lies with WikiLeaks. Those things are real. The things we've learned from the FBI over the last couple of days are real. And what we're seeing from Obama and Hillary Clinton, that's absolutely real. They're crumbling.
I believe it.
That's true. And another thing that he said verified what we have been saying for a long time on this program. We've speculated that WikiLeaks is an operation of a faction inside the CIA, the NSA, and other intel agencies. WikiLeaks isn't getting their information from the Russians. They're getting their information from factions inside the NSA and the CIA.
Now, you know, the CIA
and that
would
makes
be
the most sense.
It's the Russians.
Right?
It's the Russians.
Who has
all along,
the unfiltered access to the communications?
The politicians are saying it's the
elected
Russians, not the
officials like
CIA.
Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama and former and President
And they could have fed
Podesta.
that to them.
Yeah.
It would be the NSA and the
As a
intelligence
cover
communities.
story.
They would have had to see these crimes being committed in
That's
real
right.
time.
It's like the group Anonymous. Well, who is Anonymous? Well, we don't know because they're anonymous.
I believe they're
But
tied
what
to
a name.
WikiLeaks.
I mean, that's the greatest name you could have for a group, Anonymous.
And you can't
because
join them either.
everybody is hidden.
No, because you don't know who they
That's
are.
right.
It could be anybody
You
running
can't join them.
Anonymous.
We are
You'll never
everywhere.
know
We do
because
not
they're
forget.
anonymous.
We do not forget.
Right.
For all we know, Anonymous is being run from the NSA
Exactly.
or
Yeah.
or
Or the
or
Russians.
an intel agency
Who
we don't
knows?
even know exists.
Yes.
Because the best intel agencies are unknown.
I like that.
Yeah.
And that's got to
I
be
mean,
true.
Edward, I remember a day that the NSA didn't exist.
Yes. That was only about 10 years ago, or maybe even less, to be honest
That's
with you.
right.
2000.
I work for a
You were a
corporation that don't
tinfoil hat
exist.
person if you said NSA.
You know what?
I work for a corporation that don't exist.
So
All right, tell me.
there may be.
That's right. Yeah, we
I'm
don't have
anonymous.
They can't see it, can they?
I'm anonymous.
That's right.
I'm an unknown
existence.
intelligence source within
But
the community, but you won't know who I am.
Even though I have some suspicions
Anonymous.
about
I'm
this
a hacker
video,
backer.
I believe that I am leaning toward it's legitimate that this is a counter coup.
Me too.
That
I'm hoping it is. I mean, I'm with it.
those of us who have
You know, we're doing a special
labored
program on it. I mean, this
in
could
the
all be.
fields for a long, long time to
A hoax.
oppose this
Yeah.
evil
But I don't
and
believe it is.
corruption and wickedness, that we are seeing the fruit of our labor, and that all the saints that have been praying against it for many years and
That's
all
what-
the
this
patriots
is
that
why
have
I believe it's real.
resisted it, we're seeing
Hold on, I'm going to pause it
the
right
fruit
here.
of our labor.
Go ahead.
This is why I believe it's real. I've been praying about it. My church has been praying about it. I've been praying that God will reveal the corruption of our government, that those who are involved in these wicked schemes against the citizenry of this country, and those that have went in there for greed, for power, for all the things that are the wrong reasons, that God will move them out, disgrace them, and put them in jail where they belong. Brother, I've been praying just that way. And when this thing began to break, I began to think in my spirit, this is God answering prayer.
Wow.
That's why I can believe it.
Yeah.
Now,
wow.
People hadn't been praying this way, and they don't hope that God's going to turn our nation around.
Well, again, we've been praying that the corruption be revealed.
Yeah.
And God has, through his prophets, been saying that he was going to do it.
Yes. So, and here it's happening, and people are saying, I hope nobody's out there now listening to God and say, well, I just can't believe it. I just don't believe it. Well, how can you pray for it, and then when it starts happening, not believe it?
Right.
That's like praying without faith. Just keep your mouth shut. You're not going anywhere anyway if you pray without faith.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what's going to be on conservative news. You know, when I'm talking about like Fox News or something like that, they're going to pick something up. If anybody does it, Sean Hannity will pick it up and he'll put it out there.
He'll put it out, and then hopefully the liberal media.
They're checking their sources. They are checking the
sources. You better believe it.
Out.
They ain't putting their
we
neck
don't have
out.
the resources to check sources.
No, they ain't putting their neck out like Steve is.
Right. Exactly right.
Not me, but Steve.
Steve Pachesnik.
Yeah, that guy.
Pachinik. Say it. Pachinik.
I'm the one that's got you saying Paniski.
Paniski. Yeah, it's Pachinik.
I'm sorry, it's Pachinik. We might not either one be saying his name right.
No, that's what they said anyway. We got three of us at least saying it.
Okay.
So anyway, we're going to pick up with true news here. Here we go.
That the machine is crumbling. It's been exposed.
I agree with you, Pastor, but I also remind everybody that George Washington was a traitor to the British Empire.
Oh, that's right.
And so, depending on who wins the war, defines who the traitors are.
Yes.
And, this is a call, really, that video is a call to revolution. There's plain and simple.
Oh, he announced a revolution.
I mean, it's a call to revolution. It really is.
But what he's saying is this is a counter-revolution to a criminal revolution that's underway.
Good.
Now,
let's listen to the second message. This
I'm
one
going to
came
listen to
out.
the second one, but I'm going to tell you something here. We're going to do this here. If they haven't learned anything, if they've learned anything in the Coup camp, they need to start writing letters and burning them when they take them with a squire or whatever takes them. And I got an email I'm going to send you, but I'm going to send it to you through a letter, because I wouldn't do anything.
Right.
I wouldn't do anything on the internet. When you tell me that it's the FBI and the CIA and the NSA and it's all that 18 groups that is going to come together to stop this from happening, and I was on this side of it, I'm not going to use my cell phone.
That's right.
I'm not going to use a telephone. I'm not going to use anything. And the thing is that if you're going to communicate, you're going to have to go, Hillary, you're going to have to go to the White House.
Imagine the panic that is in this corrupt elite.
Right now.
Right now, y'all. Imagine the panic.
Exactly. We're not picking up. It's like when you go to jail. If a person goes to jail, they'll tell you that they are listening to every phone call. Every phone call that you take is being recorded. They tell you that going in. And do you realize how much information they get off of people who call in there and they're talking about it and say, well, I wonder if they're listening. No, they ain't listening. And they go ahead and tell them everything. All along, you got people behind the scenes who's listening to the phone calls that are happening there.
And they read the letters that are sent out, too.
Yeah, I mean, but right now, when you would tell me it's all these agencies that are against me, I wouldn't, brother. I'd be around my room right here, looking around here like this here. Now, what that camera? Who's on that camera? You've got any camera system. Mm-hmm. If there's any type of a camera system, burglar alarm, fire alarm, any type of system, they are watching you.
And that is the Esther thing, the gallows that Mordecai built for the Jews, and that Haman built for Mordecai and the Jews. He got hung himself, and all this investigative powers that's been given to the FBI and others to do the surveillance and the phone taps. Guess what?
They've been doing it against them.
It's been used against them. Praise God. Justice is being served.
Wow. Let's see what happens. Let's go ahead and run this. See what he's going to do here. You're listening to WUCC 99.9 FM, second hour of a special program. It is called The Coup and the Counter Coup. There is a coup that is taking place by the Clinton administration to take over America, and just released today a video about a counter coup from the FBI and the supporting group saying, no,
yes,
we are standing up and we are going to stop this from happening inside of America. It's amazing times that we're living in. You're hearing it right here on the Voice of Truth, 99.9 WCC Williston. Here we go. We're going to listen to some true news.
Hours after the first one?
Yes, that's correct.
All right, let's listen.
I've just talked to you about the ongoing coup and counter coup that is being initiated by the Clintons on the one hand, and counter coup by the FBI, the New York Police Department, and other branches of our intelligence community. The important part to remember is also that not all the information has come out with regards to Weiner and his sexting to a 15-year-old North Carolina teenager. The real issue underlying a lot of Bill Clinton's nefarious activities, as well as Hillary Clinton's sexual activities, is the fact that we know that both of them have been a major part and participant of what's called the Lolita Express, which is a plane owned by Mr. Jeff Epstein, a wealthy multimillionaire who flies down to the Bahamas and allows Bill Clinton and Hillary to engage in sex with minors. That is called pedophilia. And as a result of the excellent work that the New York Police Department does in tracking pedophiliacs, they also have a record of both Hillary, Bill, and other people associated with the Clintons
and
with
others.
regard to pedophilia. So not only will she be charged with obstruction of justice,
if I was ever on the Lolita Express,
to a prosecutor in the FBI, she will also be charged with pedophilia, sex with minors, and other
Hillary for jail.
assault issues.
Not the
Bill
White House.
Might be brought up
the
again
jailhouse.
on certain charges because those charges still relate to American crime and prosecutorial issues.
I feel sorry.
But I do want to inform you that we are well aware in the intelligence community of their activities that hasn't stopped. And we're not talking about one trip to the Bahamas. We're talking about a multiple of 20 or 30 trips that Bill and Hillary did take separately and together on the Lolita Express to engage in sexual activities with minors.
Okay, that statement is mind-boggling. I mean, he just publicly accused Bill and Hillary Clinton of pedophilia.
And if it's untrue, then they have reason to sue him for libel, for defamation of character.
Well,
or kill him
the
one.
man has a
They'll opt for the second
sterling
option.
record. His resume is spotless. Why would he do this at this stage of his life?
It makes you wonder if the Epstein trial that's currently underway in West Palm Beach will become public before the end of the year, before January, when whoever has won this presidency takes over from Barack Obama.
Well, you know, they managed to shut down an investigation into Jeffrey Epstein last year. And that investigation includes Prince Andrew,
Listen to this, y'all.
the brother
It's gonna get
of
deep.
Prince Charles, the son of Queen Elizabeth. I mean, this thing has got tentacles that
The motherland.
reach into Great Britain and Europe.
The motherland's involved.
Yeah.
Recently, there have been stories in London newspapers that there is a family fight in Queen Elizabeth's family because Prince Andrew is angry that his children have been pushed out of all public events involving the royal family.
Right.
And he wants a role for his family. Well, the reason that the Queen has pushed out all of Prince Andrew's family from public events is that she's probably been informed by MI6 there is going to be a scandal that is going to rock the world.
And, you know, this stems from the testimony of a mistress to Jeffrey Epstein, who said that Epstein had bragged to her that the visitors of his island and participants in whatever was going on there were recorded, and that he was keeping recordings for leverage.
And that mistress was, I believe, underage at the time that she was participating.
Yes.
So she said that there were recordings of the famous people who came and went.
Yes.
Names,
today I looked
dignitaries,
at a
heads
flight
of
log,
state,
which had been released actually
politicians.
earlier this year. But again, so much happened this year that most of the press actually overlooked some of the details in this this log. Something I found was Doug Band, the CEO of Teneo, was in the flight log with Bill Clinton. He actually went 11 times with Bill Clinton to...
You found this in the WikiLeaks documents?
No. This is in
Sounds
the
like Fantasy
flight
Island
log.
for perverts.
Jeffrey Epstein's flight log.
I got
was
a
released
nuke for
earlier
that
this
island.
year, around
Well,
June.
they would
actually,
take them
this year.
off the shore.
And people look through it for Bill Clinton's
You know, where
names. Like when
that's legal,
Pachenik,
probably.
he quoted that Bill Clinton had visited had taken the Lolita Express to the sex island and said he'd been there 26 times. That's from the flight log.
Tell our listeners what the Lolita Express is.
So the Lolita Express was an aircraft, a Boeing 727, which was owned by Jeffrey Epstein, and he would shuttle actresses, political elites, other billionaires, entertainment figures, and again, on top of that too, Bill Clinton and his wife. They would shuttle them to an island, and this island was
in the Bahamas.
And there were things that have come up from testimony that just disgusting.
And this
that
was
were
a
going on
private
there.
island.
Now, the flight log and the Black Book were released. The Black Book was released in 2015. It had a lot of the contacts that Jeffrey Epstein had and that he documented. And it was actually typed, which is very interesting. It was a very well-maintained Black Book. In addition to the Black Book, the flight log I'm talking about has a detailed remarks section for anybody who went on this flight. And again, as I mentioned, it was overlooked and only brought up now because of what was released through WikiLeaks, which we learned Doug Band, the CEO of Teneo, was helping the Clintons funnel money through their foundation to enrich the family.
This is the foundation that she's been bragging about, helping people around the world. It was a money laundering scheme, y'all.
I've not heard anybody make this connection, Edward.
Yeah, we're going to break it today through our social media director on Twitter.
When you start talking about pedophilia, that's when people start showing up dead. That's when people fall off buildings, get hit by cars, commit suicide, strange things happen. You know, arkancide, mass arkancide. You really, I mean, you're going into a cesspool that is extremely dark and dangerous. And so for Steve Pachenik to make this accusation today, you talk about the ultimate can of snakes that he just opened up.
Major operations in London and
that
Dubai.
The perpetrators, their souls are dead. And that's what this exposure is going to show. These sick people, if they did do these things that are being oscillated in this video, and again in testimonies from people in the Epstein trial, I think it's bipartisan. I think there is going to be a bipartisan public conviction of the perpetrators.
Everybody
better be.
Also, somebody at the FBI published 1,000 pages related to the Vince Foster death.
Yes.
There's no discussion about this, Doc.
None. This is from our era, Pastor, where we're talking about it on the radio and everything. Most of this generation here don't know anything about it.
You discovered this yesterday and told me about it. I was like, no, come on, this is not real. And he goes, no, look at this. This is on the FBI server.
Yes, it's a part of a dump that the FBI is doing on vault.fbi.gov. I mean, all sorts of stuff they're releasing this week that I don't know whether it was backlogged or if they're doing it on purpose, whatever it is. But
they're doing it on purpose, Doc. Come on. I mean, somebody at the FBI, my instinct tells me that James Comey is pretty close to being under house arrest by the FBI, and that he's being told, just sit there and shut up, sign these documents. We are releasing documents that have been held up for years.
I spoke to some of my sources today. They said 10% of the FBI was ready to sign a resignation.
Wow.
If Comey went ahead and didn't follow through on the evidence that they had.
Wow.
How many agents
pressured him into
FBI?
opening
That's
up this
approximately
case?
1,000. Oh, sorry. In the FBI total, there's 36,000 employees. So 10% of those, 12,000 being special agents, would be roughly 1,200.
Wow. A lot to lose all at once. You mentioned the Vince Foster files. Some of it's redacted and everything, and there's no way to go through 1,000 pages in several hours, but Edward found some key points just in the brief time he had to highlight some things. And Edward, what do you have on that?
So I have a unique perspective on this because, as you said, this stuff is a lot of it's new to me. This is what I found to be a little bit off. First, there was 0 brain or bone fragments found at the scene. The FBI found blonde to light brown hair that was not
about
Vince
Vince
Foster's
Foster?
on
Yeah,
his t-shirt,
having supposedly
pants,
killed
belt,
himself.
and
Killed
shoes
himself.
and socks. The FBI doesn't know who this belongs to. They preserved it for future comparisons. The FBI found unknown carpet fibers on Vince Foster.
Here's what
which they
happened is
also
that he was the
preserved.
deputy White House counsel
The
back
FBI said
in
they preserved the hair samples
1993
of
during the
anything
first
that's found on
half year of President Bill
or,
Clinton
again,
administration.
comparing with
And
any
before that, he
sexual,
worked in the Rose Law Firm in Little Rock,
that were
Arkansas, where he was the recipient of several awards, the colleague and friend of Hillary Rodham Clinton. At the White House, he was unhappy with work in politics, spiraled into depression, and committed suicide.
Released to the public. Now, the CW is not named.
Or
and
so the
up until
story
right now,
goes.
the FBI
Yeah,
is the
he
only
committed
person, the only organization that knows the
Probably going
identity
to come
of
out
this
and say
man.
some things.
The FBI tested for
Yes.
gunpowder residue. They found residue on his hands and a few other places. The residue, they also found residue that did not match, but said that was likely due to contamination, which occurred when the park police laid out his bloody clothes to dry in their station and let other people come in and out of where the clothes were located. No residue was found on tissue samples from inside his mouth. Vince Foster was found wearing gloves, which is weird because in the report, the FBI said it was 90 degrees out. His body was found on July 20th during the height of summer in D.C. Vince Foster was also noted in this as having 3 items from the suicide note. I think we've seen the suicide note from previous interviews, but the 3 items were Whitewater, Madison Garantry, and CMS. The report had background checks, and I think the last part of interesting here is that Bill and Vince Foster actually went to kindergarten together.
Yeah, well, they were both born in Hope. Both from Hope, Arkansas. So that's known that for a long time. But there were things there I've never heard before. And it's great that he's got a fresh perspective on this because we lived through it, Pastor. We talked about it on the radio. We talked about it with our audiences and everything years ago. But to see it through Edward's eyes now, like the blonde hair, that's the first I'd ever heard of that.
How about the carpet fibers? How would you get carpet fibers on you in a park?
Especially because they said they found the body and it covered in heavy foliage. You know, they didn't even see the gun initially. This guy, Vince Foster, was covered in leaves in the woods.
I've never heard that either.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So he supposedly
That
shot
was a new
himself
one
and
for
then
me.
covered himself with leaves.
So
The person who did the
Come on, man.
investigation, I'm talking about the non-government person, the journalist who did the investigation, was Ambrose Evans Pritchard of the London Telegraph. He wrote a book about Vince Foster's death. It's my understanding that he received death threats. And
So why are they talking about this?
Mr. Pritchard.
because of the connection with the Clinton
Exactly.
family.
That's the reason why someone says, well, what are they talking about? Something that happens back in 1993 is because the FBI today is releasing information that they know about what happened with this man dying, and they're absolutely frightened that they're even talking about it again.
The words are covered up, and it's
Why
being uncovered.
Has it been
That's right.
released now, days before the election? Somebody in the FBI wanted to make sure that this got out before the election.
You know, I was reading today, the FBI actually spoke to this. They said all they're doing is fulfilling freedom of information requests.
But my gut feeling is these are freedom of information requests that have been bottled up for years.
on purpose.
And now somebody's telling Comey, sit down, shut up, we're in charge.
Edward, what else has been released this week? I mean, we've got the investigation on the Clinton Foundation. That FBI released that earlier this week. Some of the Hillary Clinton investigation, they released some of those files this week on vault.fbi. And now Vince Foster. And Pastor, it's only Wednesday. I know.
I'm speechless. Edward, you were telling us last week that your source in Europe told you that WikiLeaks was saving its big announcement for the last few days of the campaign. WikiLeaks has been quiet. Have they backed up to allow the FBI leaks to be published?
That seems to be so. I mean, the biggest email that's come out of WikiLeaks in the past couple of days was regard to Peter Kazik. You referred to it earlier. There's literally an email that came in today. Subject line, heads up, sent to John Podesta, and it read, there is an HJC oversight hearing today where the head of our civil division will testify, likely to get questions on State Department emails. Another filling in the FOIA case went in last night or will go in this AM. That indicates it will be a while, 2016, before the State Department posts the emails.
That's right. Gave him a heads up on the questioning. This is coming from Kazik at the State Department to Podesta. But now we know that they knew each other for decades and were involved in other Clinton scandals such as Monica Lewinsky and Mark Rich.
Going back 30 years.
I mean, those Podestas are two dirty rascals. Hey, Right Wing Watch, I hope your buddies go to prison.
Well,
I'm enjoying it, Right Wing Watch. Your buddies at the Podesta brothers are going to go to prison.
Wow.
Make sure you post that online.
There's this book called The Bible.
Yeah,
it's
put that
great.
on Right Wing Watch. Rick Wiles predicts Podesta brothers go to prison. I don't think that's going to be there. Well, Barack Obama had something to say today about James Comey. He's not happy today. Yesterday they were trying to play it cool, but Obama was a little
hot off the press from the president.
Listen to the great one, Barack Obama.
Obviously, it's become a political controversy. The fact of the matter is that Hillary Clinton, having been in the arena for 30 years, oftentimes gets knocked around, and people say crazy stuff about her. And
go ahead and defend her.
She makes a mistake, an honest mistake, it ends up being blown up as if it's just some crazy thing. And so I understand why, if you're voting for the first time or even the second time, all that noise coming at you, you think, oh, well, there's something maybe I should be worried about. I just want everybody who's watching to know that Hillary Clinton not only is going to make a great president, and not only is she willing to work on the issues that your viewers care about most, but I trust her. I know her. And I wouldn't be supporting her if I didn't have absolute confidence in her integrity and her interest in making sure that young people have a better future. I've made a very deliberate effort to make sure that I don't look like I'm meddling in what are supposed to be independent processes for
you haven't heard none of his speeches, have you?
Setting aside the particulars.
He's trying to protect the establishment right now.
I know that she is somebody who has always looked out for the interests of America and the American people first. And
keep lying.
I do think that there is a norm that, when there are investigations, we don't operate on innuendo. We don't operate on incomplete information. We don't operate on leaks. We operate based on concrete decisions that are made. When this was investigated thoroughly the last time, the conclusion of the FBI, the conclusion of the Justice Department, the conclusion of repeated congressional investigations was that she had made some mistakes, but
so it's already discrediting what's happening.
Right.
He's trying to protect the establishment.
Hey, Obama, your fake birth certificate on the White House website is going to be published too, and maybe your Pakistan passport. Maybe all of your ID documents are going to be published.
Oh, wow.
by the good guys in the
Maybe
deep
you and Hillary
state
can
that are
have
coming forth to
side-by-side
help the
jail
Republic.
cells.
Hey, here's one of the things I'm reading on the web here about the FBI mutiny. Let me just read what it says here.
Yeah, read it.
It says his claims, talking about
Steve's?
Yeah, Paczynski. His claims might explain the unprecedented and mysterious actions by the FBI on Tuesday. The FBI vault silently and unexpectedly made documents relating to the investigation into Hillary Clinton available to the public. Documents that were not to be unclassified until 2041.
20
Wow.
after she was probably dead.
Oh, yeah, she's gone. She's off the scene. That they're releasing those documents now, and you know they are upset.
Prayer changes things.
Isn't that
You hear
amazing?
me? Prayer
Wow.
moves mountains, and
This
that
is
mountain
amazing.
just got moved.
Let's go ahead and finish up here.
I'd be worried if I were you, Obama, because you're a crook too. You're a liar. And
That's what we were just
I have
talking
a feeling
about,
You're
wasn't
going
it?
to be exposed before this is over too. You know, Obama said that Hillary is trustworthy. He trusts her. She's honest. I want you to hear a TV ad from the Defeat Crooked Hillary PAC.
I'm supporting Hillary Clinton because Hillary Clinton is honest and trustworthy.
Cut. It's not a question, it's a statement.
Okay. Hillary Clinton is honest and trustworthy.
Cut.
No, no good? She's honest?
Cut.
Trustworthy?
Cut. It's not a question.
What is it?
That Hillary Clinton is honest and trustworthy.
She isn't?
No, she's not.
That's what I've been saying.
That's not what I'm...
Stupid script. Make America #1 is responsible for the content of this advertising?
Hillary Clinton is trustworthy?
Hey, this next audio clip features the voice of Craig Murray. He's a former ambassador to Uzbekistan from Great Britain. And he's a friend of Julian Assange. Now, in this audio, this comes from an interview with Sputnik News, the Russian news service. And he's talking about the DNC and Podesta emails. He said, well, I'll let you hear. He says, look, this is not from the Russians. And he tells the people who is releasing these documents. Again, this is former UK Ambassador Craig Murray.
I'll start off by asking you, do you think WikiLeaks received their emails from the Russian government? Do you think the accusations regarding the Russian government involvement is accurate?
No, this is absolutely untrue. The source of these leaks, these emails, has nothing to do with Russia at all. I discovered what the source was when I attended the Sam Adams Whistleblower Award in Washington, which I was chairing a couple of months ago. And the source of these emails comes from within official circles in Washington, D.C. You should look to Washington and not to Moscow for the source of these emails.
We had said this several months ago, Pastor, on this program.
That's right.
This was not coming from Russia. This was coming from right here in the U.S., right in the belly of the beast itself.
We have been right all along. Throughout this year, we have been proven right. That's why you need to listen to True News. The Holy Spirit is giving us insight and revelation about the news. We're actually reporting the news before it happens. Now, this next audio is former House Majority Leader, Texas Congressman Tom DeLay.
I were talking back in May or June, and I told you then that my sources in the FBI, in the FBI had a slam dunk case against Hillary Clinton, and if the Department of Justice does not prosecute Hillary Clinton, that those FBI agents are coming out. My sources tell me that a week or so, well, actually a few weeks ago, almost 100 agents were threatening Comey that they were going to resign. And that kind of pressure is what turned him around. It wasn't Comey or his integrity. I don't know what his integrity is. I know he made a huge mistake when he indicted Clinton not to be indicting her. But now he's trying to turn that around. And, of course, he had to do it now or have all these FBI agents resign. That would have probably been a bigger story than what Comey did.
Tom DeLay. So he's not a tinfoil hat wearing person.
No, he's not.
Former House Speaker Tom DeLay with his sources saying over 100 agents.
Again, verifying what we speculated. Before we heard any of these things, we were saying that what was taking place was a revolt inside the FBI. And then after we said it, various voices came forth and said 100 agents prepared to walk out. This is an amazing development. What I'm saying today is I believe Comey is no longer running the FBI. I believe he is a figurehead. I believe that he has been placed under house arrest. That's where I'm going with this today. I believe Comey is under house arrest by honest FBI agents who are not allowing him to tell Loretta Lynch what is happening.
And mind you, she actually met with James Comey on Monday. There's not a lot of information about what was said at the meeting, but it was reported that she met with James Comey about the reopening of the investigation.
Well, Lynch is going to be arrested too. And this will go up the food chain to Obama. Obama will be arrested before this is over.
Oh, come on.
You know how many years I've said my dream is... I actually have two dreams. I don't know which one I'd like better. One dream is all of these rats get on a jet at Andrews Air Force Base and fly off to Argentina to go into exile with old Nazis.
I know when they're going to take these guys off the radio.
But that would be letting them escape. My other daydream is U.S. Marines
storm the White House.
Helicopters hovering over the White House,
Jesus.
and Marines rappelling down ropes and going through the windows of the White House and hunting down these people in the White House.
Well, you know,
I like that one better.
They have plans
that has justice
to fly the Muslim flag.
We may be at that stage
over the White House.
Well, one thing we are...
The Muslims have said that.
Yeah, that's what they said they're going to do. I mean, so that's their plans for the White House.
1 week. We're talking 6 days to the election. Is we're faced with the possibility of electing a president that immediately is going to be under scrutiny of several investigations, possible impeachment, so many things happening at once that we're going to be faced with a situation where we have a really lame duck president from day one if Hillary Clinton gets elected, because how can you be president and defend yourself from a half dozen different investigations going on? I mean, we're going to be faced with a real constitutional crisis.
So when I look back at what's been prophesied,
I was hoping you was going to pause right there. So there's things that we need to talk about.
Because, there's things been prophesied about. There's not going to be a 2016 election.
Yes.
And we're 7 days out. And the FBI is a counter coup.
Mm-hmm.
FBI saying we're throwing down on this thing before it happens.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to, and I think they might be doing the things like this here too. I want you to, Steve, let me just hit my mind. If they know everything about counter coup and all the information, they know if people are hacking into the
files,
the voting booths.
Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah.
In the voting files,
mm-hmm.
into the precincts and changing numbers and doing things. They know. You know what I mean? They're watching. Brother, that's probably why they know what's going on. I mean, I'm thinking about this here, man. I wouldn't trust nothing. They know when they pull up to a red light and go through, they could send them a ticket before they got home.
So what you're saying is, if you were those criminals that are in the White House right now and part of the establishment, and that you would be scared, you would be wanting to dig a hole and hide.
Yeah,
and
I wouldn't be trying. I wouldn't be trying. Yeah,
you would be trying to perpetrate all of these crimes right now. You'd be trying to hide from them and disassociate with those things.
Yeah, I would be like, what was that lady's name? Her
Umo Amberdeen?
Yes, I'd be like her.
Disappear.
Okay,
here's I'm gonna throw this out. You probably already thought this, maybe everybody else has too.
We got 20 minutes. You listen to Project SEER. Woo, a special edition.
This is a special edition.
America is in a counter coup right now with the FBI. They are leading a coup against the president and against Hillary Clinton.
Mm-hmm.
They have risen up And they said, no, we're not going to allow this to happen. And that's the word that's out on the street right now, isn't it?
Yes, it's all over the news.
I mean, it's
that's
everywhere.
Real news. So if I were the president and I'd been put in by the establishment, that's the only way you get there. Okay, I'd been put in by the establishment, and I was sworn to protect the establishment. Right now, what I would be considering is this the best time for me to declare martial law.
Exactly.
And I can stop this mess. I can have a reason because of the confusion in the election process.
Right.
This is my time to step up and spare the shame of having my name and every other political name
go
smeared
across the world.
Yes.
That America has come to this.
And so what I'm going to do, I'm just saying now, that if I was president, I'd stop it, and then I'd start rounding up the people who caused it, because I would have full control of the military. Now, what do? What do we do as civilians if the president makes that move? Then you got to make your decision. Am I loyal to the government that is absolutely corrupt?
Like Hitler.
Like Hitler, or will I be part of the resistance? And it would only take 4 or 5% of America, which would be millions of people, to stand up with the FBI and say, oh, no, you don't. We need to get this thing fixed right. You're not going to sweep this under the rug.
Well, that's what they do with InfoWars. They say, if you're listening to this, you are part of the resistance.
Yes.
So if you're listening to us today,
yes,
you are part of the resistance.
And I'm just thinking ahead.
Yeah.
This thing could really be a war. Mm-hmm. It could really be some conflict. But what we need now is true patriotic Americans to stand up for their country. We need Christians to come out of the closet and stand up for righteousness again. Because if you finish listening to this, and I'm not sure we'll get to it, you will understand.
Depends if
and
we
hear.
do another hour or not.
I don't know if I can make another hour. This time I'm so wound up. But if you listen to this and you do your own digging, you'll find out that their sexual habits are so perverse that they ought to be executed. I mean, that's just saying it. I believe it. That's the way I feel in my heart. People who do the crimes that they are accused of doing right now, they need to be put on trial for them to see if it's true or not.
Yeah. So you may do me run this up some?
No, I don't know where it's. I don't know which part of the thing.
Well, there will be an uprising in the streets of this country.
There we go.
Half of the country is going to revolt, and it's going to be supported and led by key members in Washington of the intelligence community, the military, law enforcement.
They're all rising.
How could she govern? If she is elected, how can she govern?
She couldn't.
There will be demands that she's arrested before she's ever
Obama's
sworn
going to
in
take control
as president in
that's
January.
what I see happening.
You know, if only 5% of the country were to rebel,
it shuts the system down.
15 million people.
Yeah.
It's never been seen.
Go into the streets and say, we're not leaving until our demands are met. That's all it takes.
Take my Diet Pepsi with
Well, we
me.
have audio clips of 3 different members of the U.S. Congress, all 3 Republicans, saying that we are headed toward a constitutional crisis if Hillary Clinton is elected. The first audio is Congressman Sensenbrenner. He was on WTMJ radio.
Can she be indicted as a sitting president?
Yes.
Okay. So what do you think will happen?
Well, we're going to have a constitutional crisis if that happens.
Why is that a crisis? I just want to walk through that.
You know, having a sitting president having to stand trial in a court, because if one's indicted, one is going to end up having to stand trial. You know, the question beside the constitutional issue is I think we want to elect a president that spends all of their time being president and making the tough decisions that go with that office rather than spending their time figuring out how to defend themselves in court.
The second audio is Congressman Peter King of New York.
Let's listen to him.
He is on Long Island in the AM.
I mean, what happens afterward as far as the investigation? I mean, I don't think there's ever been a situation where a president gets into office and maybe a month or two later, here you go with some serious charges. Have you ever heard of anything like this?
No, there's been nothing like this where you'd have potential criminal charges.
I mean, you're talking a possible impeachment. Who knows? Tim Kaine, you know, I mean, there you go. I mean, You could really have a circus getting into play here in the Oval Office.
Yeah, you really could have a constitutional crisis here. And let's say they find out, for instance, that Umar Abedin or Anthony Weiner somehow used these emails, and it turns out that Umar Abedin, that the testimony she gave, or the statement she gave to the FBI was not true. Well, then they'd have to investigate. Did she do that on her own? Did Hillary ask her to? Did Hillary know about it? You're right. This could certainly drag into a term of office if she's elected. Absolutely.
Wow. And the third congressman is Louis Gohmert from Texas. He was on Sean Hannity's program.
What would November 9th be like if, God forbid, Hillary is elected? To me, it would be the country goes to a standstill because the investigations will likely take years, very, very likely leading to impeachment, very likely leading to the most divisive time in American history. Louis Gohmert, Congressman, how are you, sir?
Great to be with you. As far as I know, I'm fine, and you put your finger on it. I mean, we would really have a constitutional crisis because we've never had anyone under this type of investigation at the time of the election. There's nobody to blame but Hillary. I mean, some of the Democrats themselves were urging her 2 years ago. Let's get this stuff on out there now.
Let me ask you this, Edward. The crooks inside the government, the liars, these snakes, we know that they were going to rig the election. That's a given. And we were hoping that Trump could overcome whatever rigging that they carry out. But right now, they're paranoid. They don't know who is watching them. They don't even know who they're talking to, if the person they're talking to is really on their side or perhaps spying on them.
Right.
They don't know if their emails are being read. They don't know if their phone calls are being listened to. They're paranoid.
That's what I said. I would
Can they afford
paranoid
to take the risk of rigging the election on Tuesday?
That's what I just said.
I
when
absolutely
they
think not. I think at this point, the rig is off. They can't pay these officials enough.
If the rig is off, we know who will win. Trump will
their
pull it off.
faces and their names into the fray of a potential federal investigation from the FBI.
You're talking about rigging a federal election. That ought to send you to prison for 100 years. Can they take the chance that they're not going to get caught this time? They bragged on the Project Veritas videos that they've been doing this for 50 years.
They're alone. They're not able to talk to each other. And they're not able to meet about their plans.
Because they don't know if they're being recorded. They don't even know if the people on their staff are really working for them, because they found out that, yes, that Project Veritas had their moles inside the Democratic Party operations, right, exposing all this. So they're very paranoid right now. Not more paranoid about intelligence agents listening to them, monitoring their activities.
They were never, concerned about intelligence agents listening in. They were never concerned about that.
Now, Doc, I think they're worrying, have they been recording them for decades? Are there decades of phone calls and emails sitting in the NSA to lock these people up for good?
Let's hope so.
The irony is the panopticonic surveillance system that they created to control the masses is now being used to...
Wait a minute. You know where I read that in the Bible?
Esther.
Haman.
Oh, where they were hung on the very gallows that they built.
He built that for God's people, and that's the gallows he died on.
Hey, brother, you ready to land a plane? We only got a few minutes.
Our God is great.
And I just have to add, Pastor, amen, because just today I was listening.
Wow. So we have thrown 2 hours of information in your lap, in your head, and maybe you're trying to stretch your brain a little bit and get it around this. I know I am. This just dropped in my lap yesterday, and I didn't go looking for it. I hadn't heard a hint about it until the Lord directed me, because remember, I pray all the time for wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. In the times and the seasons, I've been praying specifically for the election, and so God puts in my lap this video. And somebody says, that's just coincidence. Yes, just coincidence because I happen to be praying and I happen to be seeking God for our country with tears and sorrow in my heart, asking God to give us a chance. And God puts this right in my lap. I presented to my church last night. Me and Brother Schaefer were talking. We said, we can't let this bypass and not be part of it. And so we're here in the studio and have been almost for the last 2 hours, but now we're coming together to land this plane. So what are we trying to figure out? Get your head around this. There is a coup going on. The coup is that Hillary and her cronies that's been in power for decades now are trying to again assume the throne and continue their nepotism, continue their dictatorship of the country and the ruin of our great nation. And let me tell you, they've got higher-ups over them, and we talk about the Illuminati, and all of these things are true. And these leaks, supposedly, that are leaks, and they are not leaks, they're intentional let-outs or outlets for this information, are opening up the truth, okay, of things we've suspected and hypothesized about in the last months or years. But today we're finding out there are facts, and the FBI and the real legitimate power behind investigating the world's situations and people, they are behind it now. And they're saying, yeah, this, and this. We have this record, this day, this happened, this was said, this is where they went. All the information is there to get them off of the throne, out of the White House, into the jailhouse where they belong, which is where I've been praying for them to go. So you need to get your head around this and get on the internet and find out everything you can, and let's get this information out there, because the main media is probably not going to catch up to it until it's a real big thing and too late.
Yeah,
right?
What they're going to do is they're going to indict Hillary. They're going to try to do that before.
We're talking about days, brother. We're talking
about days. Yeah, within 7 days, they're going to do this thing.
Yes.
And they're going to try to indict her. But the thing is, make sure people understand, the FBI, along with at least 14 other
spy
agencies of the United States, have come together and with Steve Pinchek has said that he is the spokesman. You can check him out. And he just came out on the YouTube with a couple of videos saying that this is what's going on, that there was so much corruption that James Comey was overlooking, that they said we as patriots cannot sit back and allow this woman to go in with all the information that we know and that we have. And they said, they rose up and they said, we've got to stop her from going in because that's how corrupt that she is. So all I can tell you is a report of what's going on and what's out there on the internet, on third-party news, I guess. Oh, you're not going to find this on CNN, Clinton News Network. You're not going to find this. But I was shocked to find it today when it was out there off of Alex Jones, True News, all these different ones. It's just released. And I pulled the videos down myself before they got erased.
And I think that people need to watch Fox News tonight and just see
if it's there.
See and listen to what they're saying, because they will give you they'll have to do a fact check, because, you know, this third-party news, the internet news, they probably could get by a lot more with things that Fox News cannot. So they're going to give you a very detailed, what they absolutely know is true on Fox News.
They say that Alex Jones, Infowars.com, that he has more viewers than Fox News or any other news agency.
Is that right?
Yeah, Infowars.com.
Yeah, I watch him, as a matter of fact. I watched some of his stuff the other day.
It's an alternative news source. I mean, you've got all these, you got to look at what's going on around the world and all this stuff. And if I go to the mainstream media, they're going to tell me how to cut a pumpkin.
Yeah, or who won the World Series.
Yeah.
And show you celebrations.
Yeah, and who cut a pumpkin and how to eat some pumpkin pies and all this stuff and get ready for Turkey Day and all the stuff in the news. And I'm going, we got an election going on. It's getting ready to be stolen, you know, and they call that the Clinton coup.
Yeah.
They are taking over, and they are manipulating the media. They're manipulating the people. They're manipulating the voting machines, they're saying, and the FBI is saying this.
Okay, so we want you, our listening audience, you great Christians that helped us pray this thing into existence by praying that God would reveal the corruption and help us deal with it so that we could get a country back under God again.
Yeah.
Then you need to buckle up and let's get behind this movement.
What some people have been saying, Trump landslide?
Yeah.
Trump landslide, the coming landslide. Well, it might be so. Might not be nobody else to vote for.
Amen. And listen, if Obama tries to declare martial law, everybody needs to start calling their senator. You need to get on the phone immediately and say no, and your voice needs to be loud. It needs to be strong, and don't sit back and let them do it.
Right.
Because you will know that is the establishment rising up and fixing to squash this hope that we have of regaining our government and purging it of all of this immorality. I mean, gross immorality.
What we were waiting for was November the 8th. We go to the election polls. We do it like we know how to do it. And we put out there what we know, what God's been saying about what's going to be happening. And the thing that God's been putting out, there would be no elections, that there would be martial law. We're saying, well, we're coming down to 7 days, y'all. Something's going to happen. Can you not believe what has happened? The FBI has stood up and said, we are not going to allow the Clintons to go in. And for this to be whitewashed, nobody to know. If you elect this lady, we're going to tell you the dirt on her and the situation and the president and the DNC. We're going to let you know and keep listening to WikiLeaks. Because the thing is, we are giving all the information to WikiLeaks.
All I can tell you is Paul Revere rode down the streets hollering, the British are coming, the British are coming. And it was a call to arms of the citizenry of the to-be United States of America. I'm telling you, this is a call. Wake up, get involved in the process, and let's get our government back under control. You got any last words there, brother? I think we're doing pretty good.
Well, it's almost kind of like we're living. It's kind of like we're in a place we've never been before.
Yep.
You know, and it's kind of like I'm not sure if I really like it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, it's like someone says we're going to have an election. We're not going to have an election. Remember what I told you? It's hard for me to imagine we won't, because we've always had one.
Yes.
You know, and we've seen corruption before in politics, but nothing happened. You know, the one I can remember really the corruption, it was Nixon got kicked out, and they're comparing her to Nixon. Worse than Nixon.
Worse
than whatever thought. So anyway, that's all I got, brother. You go ahead and say goodbye, then I'll push the button to get us on out of here.
Brother, this is I never saw this coming. Before yesterday, it's just like a bombshell went off in my mind.
The coup and counter.
And I said, what is going on? And since that time, I've been trying to wrap my head around it. Listen, y'all, pray, get God to give you answers and guidance, and you're going to have to make some decisions. I'm telling you, there's some of you listening right now, you're going to have to decide whose side you're on and get off the fence, because if you ride the fence, you get shot by both sides.
You know what I was told today? That some people were telling me that they were confused about who they needed to vote for. They were and I said, yeah, I agree. They're the spirit of confusion.
Yeah, I believe that.
You know, they go, well, but you know, I'm going, yeah, listen to what the FBI is saying.
Right.
The FBI is saying, we're not going to let this happen.
And we're not talking about a Christian organization now.
No, we're talking about, they know how corrupt this thing is. And they would go, well, I'm really confused. You need to come against that spirit of confusion. In the name of Jesus Christ of Nazareth, I bind the spirit of confusion over God's people right now in the name of Jesus. Amen. Hallelujah.
And the spirit of Jezebel.
And Jezebel. That's
in the name of Jesus. Throw that one in there.
All right, brother. Anything else?
All right. God bless. We'll see y'all. Hopefully, we'll see you Tuesday. Where we're going to start our election countdown.
Yeah.
And we're going to have everybody to the end. So we want you to tune in. But listen, don't wait to the end to tune in. You might be missed the whole thing.
You better keep listening to 99.9 WUCC Williston. God bless you as you continue to serve the Lord. Thank you for tuning in today. We've been your hosts, Henry Schaefer and Steve Hall. The end times are here. Anything is possible. Are you ready? Don't miss the next episode of Special Edition End Time Revelation.